this drug is going to actually end up doing to your child, your brother, your uncle, your father, your...
So you found out about this drug when? Before your daughter passed?
Oh, I'm 46 years old, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
No.
And my father was actually on heroin, so I'm not a stranger to this. I grew up in Boston as well, and I have friends that are on heroin. I have cousins that were on heroin. This is not a new drug to me. So when I started seeing certain signs, and like I said, spidey senses went off, I would say little things to my daughter, and she would,
be in denial.
And it's a slick drug. I mean, she was trying, denial, of course, and she even put a tattoo on her arm to where she had a trigger point. So that because I would check her arms when she came in, and oh no, mommy, I'm not doing anything, But in the end, I let her know. I educated her. And education is the main thing. Being aware of what your child is doing or suspecting it, seek help.
And not being scared to have that conversation.
Exactly. We need to have these conversations more openly because we're talking about saving lives. Giving some people another chance to make a better choice.
And so education
Second
awareness,
chance. Yes,
cigarette smoke has gone down in young people. We didn't make cigarettes illegal. We turned cigarette into being something that's gross.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that they knew cigarettes were bad way back when I was a child.
I don't know anyone who ever thought it was going to be good.
And there were little labels on there. It's like when people don't read the information and check out what it really means.
I was 7 and was able to go buy cigarettes for my mother back in the day. So, I mean...
You needed the note. I remember that note.
So the thing is, the reality of the situation is that these are the times we live in. These things are out there. They are available. And so unless we start educating one another,
becoming aware,
and we start
questions.
Talking about
Exactly.
these issues, and as you said, the shame issue is really very hard.
I
see that in all the areas where we need to start changing our thinking about how we deal with one another as a part of our humanity.
If I could interject something,
please.
Because we kept saying shame, I want to just talk about, there was an article recently in the Union Leader about saving lives, and it did mention some of the groups, Family Sharing Without Shame. There are a couple parent groups, the Addict's Mom. There are a couple support groups that are out there that for parents that I want parents to know about too.
The survival after.
Absolutely.
And the survival after.
And I've lived long enough to see how some of these groups have begun to form, because when people realize when you get outside of your own head and you share with other people and you find out other people are going through the same kinds of things, but we also learn from one another different ways in which to deal with it and how to grow from it, and then use it, even though it's been a negative experience, to move in a more positive way as you go forward,
Right.
because it is a part of your history. You can't change things. We have another caller on hold. Just a minute. Hello. Good afternoon. You have a comment or a question?
I just want to make a comment.
Yes. Go
Do you
ahead.
want me to make it now?
Yes, go ahead. You're on the air.
Oh, I am.
Yes.
Because I'm watching it. So I'm just wondering if, I know they have drop-in centers for alcoholics. Yes.
She's getting feedback.
Right.
Hi.
Tell her to turn her TV on.
Okay.
She has to turn her TV down.
Yeah, turn your TV
Okay.
down.
Yes, can you turn your TV down, please? Nope, we're gone. Maybe she may try to come back.
All right. If
Yeah,
I could, I think she was talking
I
about
could
there's
hear
a
it in the
drop-in
background,
center.
yes.
Yeah,
The question was.
She was making comments. I'm going to propose something insane right now, okay, for New Hampshire, but other countries are having a lot of success with this, and it would be injection rooms. It sounds pretty crazy to have a safe place for drug addicts to use their drugs, but the way these places work is that it provides a clean, safe cubicle for the drug user to come in and inject their drugs with medical staff there. Medical staff would go as far as saying, do you know how to shoot the drugs? here's your clean syringes, here's your clean water. Because the alternative is they're doing it in the train tracks and under the bridges, and they're dying.
Okay, just a minute.
Sure.
I think we might have back.
Oh,
Hello?
back.
Hello? No, not happening. We'll try again. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So the idea with the drop-in, we do have a drop-in shelter here in Manchester, a day shelter, and there are services there, like informational services. There's not treatment there, but I know Serenity Place was providing outreach there to help try to
And where is
direct
that
people.
located?
Central and Pine, on the corner of Central and Pine. I forget the number. It's was connected with Helping Hands.
Yes.
Yes, yep. The Christian Outreach Ministry, I believe.
Okay, we're going to try again.
One more time.
Hello?
Hi, this is the third time I've tried to call.
Yeah. I think what happened is your
the last
TV.
time it shut me off.
Your TV was so loud, you were getting the
I
feedback.
just turned it down.
I can tell the difference. All right, go ahead with your comment or question, please.
Okay. I'm calling in reference to Miss Ewing's daughter with the heroin use and...
Yes.
Hi, this is the third time I've tried to call.
I can still hear you in the background. Go ahead.
Okay. I think that it would be a wise idea to have drop-in centers for people who are trying to stop, that are trying to stay straight and have straight activities to be able to, watch a movie or play checkers or, do things. Like when I was a little kid, we went roller skating, we went skiing, sledding,
Bowling.
even at this young girl, Joyce Ewing, it would have been something for her to do to get out of herself rather than to have to feel like she has to use drugs to feel good about herself. In other words, she can get that high naturally. And again, I want to mention that drop-in centers for them I think they're essential. Whereas the heroin situation is so nationwide now, it's just incredible. I cannot believe it. I mean, I'm 58 years old, and it was around when I was a kid. And somebody asked me if I wanted some, and I said, no way. And that's just about all I have to say. But Miss Ewing, I give you my condolences for your daughter.
Thank you.
And I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you so much. Glad we were able to connect finally. Yeah, I think we need to repeat that there are centers we need more, and not just for them in between, but as was suggested, for people who are struggling to be able to go someplace safe and maybe be around other people who are struggling like themselves.
Right, where
And
they're
that's
not
what I
going to be
was saying before,
judged.
Exactly, without being judged because they have a similar kind of circumstance.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. We've over time learned that people who go through grieving or a divorce, for that matter, once we connect with someone else that's gone through or going through similar kinds of things, you find out so much more, the information, and it starts taking away that mystique about it, because these are things that are happening in life.
Right.
And we have an epidemic going on.
It's an epidemic.
And
It's
we're
an
losing
epidemic.
our young people who are our future.
There are children between the ages of 14 and 29. This generation, this gap of they don't have to die away. I'm really want to stress that there's preventable actions that we can take, that New Hampshire is just trying to brush under the rug. It's just, I don't want my daughter to have passed as a statistic, one of another. And it was a heroin fentanyl mix that took my daughter from me. And I would like to try to open up a nonprofit organization called Heroin, Joyce's New Strength, to help the families that are struggling through this epidemical. The death rate is just alarming, and I'm going to let Chuck say a couple of the
statistics,
numbers?
that, right.
the numbers that
Yeah.
are
they are
occurring
talking about
around.
in the news.
Exactly.
Right. This was just, I think, was it 2 weeks ago or about 10 days ago in the Sunday paper, I believe. But 3 years ago, there were 8 deaths they reported. 8 years ago, there were only 3 deaths. Okay, so they recorded 148 confirmed drug-related deaths. 104 of those were from opioids. only 50 from heroin. That's important to realize that we keep saying heroin, heroin.
Yes.
A lot of these, more people have died from drugs that have came out of a pill bottle than from heroin.
And like I said, over the counter or prescription.
And that's most, an education piece for the heroin, it's kind of hard to actually kill yourself with heroin. You usually fall asleep before you do enough. It's usually a combination, like what happened with Joyce.
Fentanyl.
Or alcohol. Alcohol's a drug. Let's not forget that alcohol's a drug where you can drink it once, have an impairment, and hurt someone or kill somebody.
And that's why I said a lot of people don't understand. All it takes is one time. Everybody's system's different. And all it can take is one time for certain individuals.
And it's that mix. If you had a little too much to drink and somebody offers you that.
And you think about young people that just want to party.
And that's where you usually get introduced to it.
Kids are going to college to get an education. Yeah. And the next thing you're hearing about these
they're shooting up.
They're doing drugs and they're dead.
They're taking a pill. Or
exactly.
It's a party time and what is it, the ecstasy and it's just.
Well, right now the spice that's out there in the streets.
Oh my goodness.
It's
just
just yesterday, I believe Senator Kelly Ayotte traveled with our fire and rescue, our team for the day, and they did a report on it, and what the fire department and the rescue department representatives were saying, that majority of their calls these days are with overdoses, and that in fact what they're seeing is there needs to be things in the community that would help. The social services needs to be there. There needs to be the mental health piece, and there needs to be a place for them to go. Right. And of course, what you're saying is they need to have the ability to do something on the spot. It will save somebody's life, and that's where we're talking about this particular drug.
First responders, which are the mothers, the friends, the brothers, sisters.
Sometimes it's the using partner who's down on the river, down at the train tracks.
Exactly. There's a lot of homeless people out there.
Yes.
Yep, and the first responders aren't going to be paramedics
or police officers. It's interesting how a person can get drugs in the street quicker than they can get a meal or a place to lay their head.
Get a meal.
And one of the comments that the young lady made about having drop-in centers, if we had places for people to go, that's another thing about being able to get a meal there. And being able to get education there, be able to feel you're safe.
That's what the injection sites, as crazy as that sounds, like at one time people thought needle exchange was crazy talk, but it helped save lives, it helped reduce disease, and it got introduced people to treatment. And that's what a drop-in, it wouldn't be just a cubicle to shoot up, but there would be medical people there. There would be counselors there for when they want help.
When they want to quit.
And there would be other activities going on there.
I think we need to repeat that so that people really see the other side of it. And like you said, so they're not just saying, oh, this is just another place they can go and get something.
And it sounds like crazy talk, but it's working in countries. But as you said,
they can get really professional trained assistants
professional people that are around them. And like he said, if they're willing to quit, I'm tired of this, I keep coming in here, I mean, I can see that works.
One of the problems I think with treatment here is that we have this abstinence rule that you have to have 100% abstinence, and people aren't always ready for that.
No,
like we said,
not.
keep them alive. There's a lot of the harm reductions keeping house first. Give somebody a safe place to sleep first, and they might, it might take them a month before they want, but once they start making positive changes, they are going to want to make more positive changes.
Right. And the reality is we also have to acknowledge that there are those who are going to relapse. But to be alive, to have the opportunity to come back again, to get stronger, to use the education they'll learn and begin to take power in their life in a different way instead of letting the drugs have the power.
Right.
That sense of empowerment they can begin to get back when they can really be thinking clearly.
And yeah, I do believe that the education part of it, being aware, becoming aware of your surroundings, becoming aware of what your children, your child, your uncle, your father are doing. If you do know that they're doing something, the naloxone definitely is a must, because you can save your mom's life, you can save your daughter's life, and that's one thing that I really would like to see brought to New Hampshire. And it's a must. It's a need.
Have you investigated what it would take for us to be able to get that to become an issue? I hear what you're saying about the state not willing to do that when, in fact, all the other states in the New England area now have gotten on board. They recognize it's saving lives.
Right. There was a bill proposed, and then they put it to committee discussion. And Maine has a fast track where there was a senator in Maine who said, no, we need this, and within 30 or 60 days they had the law done, approved, stamped. We don't need any more committees. The federal government, the federal marshals now carry naloxone. The Attorney General of the United States said carry naloxone. For SAMHSA, the opioid.
Why don't you turn it up so it can be seen?
See wherever the camera is. SAMHSA, this is available free online, the Opioid Overdose Toolkit. Any parent, any drug user can get this online from the SAMHSA website. It's simple 18, 19 pages, but their third recommendation on reducing overdose deaths is make naloxone access available, make it more widely available. I don't know why we're going to have a debate about it.
Well, New Hampshire likes to do things their own way. We
are
seem to be the last in the nation and things to come about.
We are second to last in the nation for access to treatment. Texas has us beat.
Wow.
And if you compare the size of Texas to New Hampshire, and you say, wait a minute, that doesn't even seem to make sense. And as you said, as a New England state, when the rest of the New England surrounding states have recognized the importance
that this is an epidemic. This is
and the other thing, when I think about it, when you say the New England states, we've got people who go back and forth across the border all the time.
Right. So I'm not telling people to break the law.
Right. Why should they have to go across the border?
There are mothers I know that are going to Lowell, Lawrence to get the Narcan because they've had a sibling or a parent or a child die. They have had one die, and they don't want to have a second one die. Rhode Island is probably the most aggressive state right now, and they've actually made it to where you don't even need a prescription. The other states, you would need to go to your doctor and say, I know somebody who uses opioids. Even if they're not an addict, if there's pain medication in your house, you don't know who's going to come into your house and maybe go to the bathroom and take it.
Exactly. We hear all the time, keep it away for children. Well, the thing is, keep it away from anybody.
You don't know.
That's right. For.
Some of those RNs are pretty good with the meds, too.
Yes. Prescribed for It's not prescribed for you.
Right. So just having it. Anybody who has pain meds should have it in their house because you don't know what could happen. A kid could take too much of it.
Well, it's like I have an EpiPen because I have allergies.
That's what I
encourage other members of my family who have allergies. Make sure you have it available.
Right.
You know, they can tell horror stories about what happened when they didn't.
Right.
They were saying the death rate of accidents, traffic accidents, that overdoses went over that.
Right.
And that shocked me.
Right.
I've done research after research, and I'm looking through all this, and of course I'm asking, why my daughter? But the fentanyl is what got her, not the heroin. Like we keep saying, we're talking about heroin, but there's other like Suboxones. Yes, it is.
Combinations are the most dangerous.
People are combining things, and young people in particular, without understanding how deadly they are.
The dealer probably doesn't even know that it's in there. That's how.
Well, a lot of times the dealer doesn't care.
No, he doesn't, and
so it might be from their dealer that dealt it to them.
From their dealer to their dealer. Who knows? But
exactly.
The overdose, the death rate is just alarming, and when it hits close to home, I feel like I have to do something. I have to educate. I have to let people become aware that shame does kill, and there are going to be places, and there are places that you can go and give us support to get the naloxone in New Hampshire, because we do need it.
Right.
We do.
Well, I hear you say that you want to start a nonprofit. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Don't forget
mine. Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah. Give me a little more background.
And that's exactly what I was just telling you, to become aware of any abuse that's happening when it comes to drugs, to be educated, to give out tools, to give not so much as a safe place to talk or like after I had lost my daughter, I felt so alone. I felt like after the service, the celebration, because that's what we called it, that I had, I had questions that I needed answered. I was by myself. I didn't really have support. Most of my family lives in New Jersey. My friends act like that they were scared to speak with me because they didn't know how to come at me.
It's not the conversation people expect they're going to have, but we do have to have it.
We don't be, I just had nowhere to turn. I had suicidal thoughts. Mm-hmm. I felt that I was just here by myself. My daughter was gone. She was my best friend. We had a great communication skills, as you did mention, and now that she's not here, what do I do? And the organization is going to provide things that the survivors of an overdose victim for things to do. I didn't have no way of burying my daughter. Mm-hmm. I had to go to the state because I'm unemployed. I had no way to get to certain places because I have no vehicle. Mm-hmm. I would like to provide
So you would like
survivors.
To set up an organization, so to speak, that would be a resource center for people, not only to be able to come and talk with somebody, but to get good information, and possibly through the education find out how, if they needed transportation, how they go about getting assistance for
a burial
and the options that might be available and things like that.
That you're not by yourself. And I wouldn't want any other woman or husband or man to feel the
same kind of pain,
the emptiness that you go through losing a child. And
how is your son dealing with all this?
My younger son?
Yes.
Yeah. We had to go through the addiction with my daughter for 3 years. My older son, he works, and he's more of a she'll get it together type of older brother. He does worry about his sister. He loves her to death, but
he was hopeful
that she was going to overcome and her death, it devastated him. Mm-hmm. And it's still affecting my older son. My younger son, we were more relieved in a way because we were scared of the initial outcome. We didn't know how she was going to go, if she was going to be raped, or if she was going to be under the bridge, or where she was going to be at a friend's house and they left her, or we were just dealing with this addiction every day. Mm-hmm. So when she did finally pass, at least we had some type of
closure to that.
Yes, she knew me and my younger son loved her. She knew her older brother loved her, but we were the ones that were
left behind to dealing
with this every single day. My younger son was like, Joyce, you're eating up all the food and now you're just gonna leave. It was, we were right there in the whole 3 years fighting with this addiction. So it was more of not a relief, but okay, now we know she's somewhere safe. Mm-hmm. We're not going to worry about her not calling or getting a phone call. It was finally, we can breathe now, knowing that my daughter is in another dimension with our Father in heaven. I truly believe that. I'm spiritual. And, he's trying to go on as I am, every day, one day at a time. And he kind of like went on his way, and I was alone. I was literally sitting in my home by myself, not knowing who to turn to, not having anyone to call.
I think at the end of the day, we all realize we're by ourselves with our thoughts, and fortunately, as you said, you have a spiritual foundation, and that's what gets you through, knowing your Heavenly Father is there for you. Exactly. But there's still that hole.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And it sounds like in a way of looking at what you went through and your daughter went through, trying to put this program together is a way for you to make something positive out of something that really was
to save lives, that your child does not have to pass away. Mm-hmm. There are other solutions.
It's a beautiful way of honoring her death.
Absolutely.
You didn't have a funeral. You had a celebration of
her life.
And now you're continuing, I think, by honoring her death with this work.
Absolutely, that's how I feel about it. Yeah. And I just have to, commend you for pulling it together
so fast.
It seems fast. This is something she'll be living with, but
I know.
trying to use that loss in a positive